What's up, my Nets fans? It's been a while since I made a video relating to the Nets. It's always about the Giants or just other sports stuff, but specifically for the Nets, it's been a long time. And the last video I actually made about the Nets was right after the Caris LeVert injury, and that night was crazy. A lot of weird emotions, and I had a knot in my stomach the whole night. But overall, I was just saying in that video, I was like, guys, we got to keep hope. This team isn't done for yet. I thought some guys had to step up, obviously, with Dinwiddie and D'Angelo Russell. Now, honestly, I did not think D'Angelo Russell would turn into a star this year, this fast. But I was basically saying in that video, like, don't lose hope yet, just because we lost one guy who at the time was our best player. I mean, don't let it think that the season's over yet. And quite honestly, I wasn't sure if we were gonna make the playoffs after that, but this team is resilient, and they made it somehow. And it's been such a fun season as a Nets fan. I mean, I can't remember the last time I said that. I mean, I love watching the Nets. I watched them the last 3 seasons when they were losing, a bunch of games every year. They haven't won over 30 games in 3 years, but I always have fun watching them. And this year has just been incredible. It was a weird season. I mean, here's what happened this year. So they lost Caris LeVert to the injury, and they started at 8-18. I mean, when you're 8-18, you're basically saying to yourself, like, okay, let's tank for Zion or something like that, right? That's basically what you're saying to yourself at that point. And then they went 20-6 after that, and then since December 7th, they were 33-22, and then now they're in the playoffs. And there were a few times this year, later in the season, when I thought that maybe we're not going to make the playoffs. I was kind of concerned, but overall, this team was able to pull it together. Kenny Atkinson did a wonderful job this year, and some people hate on Kenny Atkinson. I mean, I kind of get it at times because sometimes he doesn't play Russell enough and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think he's done a tremendous job coaching the Nets this year, and so many unexpected heroes from this team. I mean, Jared Dudley was kind of like something that I laughed at when they signed him. I was like, why are we getting Jared Dudley? But his leadership and even the way he's played this year has been pretty phenomenal. I mean, he's done just about everything you could ask him to. A great signing was Ed Davis. Everyone was saying that when we signed him, and I now know why Damian Lillard tweeted the crying emoji when Ed Davis left, because he is another terrific player, great rebounder, great defender, all that kind of stuff. And guys just grew this year. D'Angelo Russell took a big step, most improved player in my mind. Joe Harris for sure had a wonderful year. I think he led the NBA in 3-point percentage, barring something very weird happening in the final game. But he's pretty much locked in for that. Jared Allen didn't take a huge jump this year, but he was better. He became better. Sometimes he was a liability on defense. He's a good rim protector, but overall, against talented bigs that are stronger than him, which are most people, he struggled. So then again, Jared's only 20 years old, so we have to give him time. So I think people need to kind of, I don't want to say lay off him, but give the guy some time. Come on. I mean, this is like Yankee fans 2 days ago saying Gary Sanchez sucks, and now the guy hit 4 home runs or 5 home runs this weekend, and everyone's changed their perception. So we just got to give it time. Jared Allen's still very young. I still think he's very talented, and he's going to be good eventually. But for now, we just got to work with what we have. Personally, I was disappointed that we didn't trade for a stretch 4 at the deadline like most people were, but the Nets made it work. They made the playoffs, and I'm going to look right now. So, unfortunately, the Celtics couldn't handle business against the Magic. I think they were at home, too. I mean, I don't know how the Celtics lost that game. I think they were playing their starters, too. Maybe not Al Horford. I don't remember seeing him. But outside of that, they couldn't beat them, so we have to win against the Heat to have the 6th seed locked up. And if that were the case, we would play the Sixers if we had the 6th seed, and then we would play the Raptors if we were the 7th seed. So, personally, I'd rather play the Raptors, as crazy as that sounds. The Raptors do have 7 more wins right now, but I don't know. The Sixers have just been clicking lately since the trades they made in Tobias Harris, and Jimmy Butler seems to be working out pretty well, and Boban Marjanovic, I forget his name now, the 7'6" dude, I can't pronounce his name. They've all been pretty good fits there for Philadelphia, so they're a pretty scary team right now. I'm terrified of Joel Embiid against Jared Allen, so that's not a matchup I want to see particularly. I'd rather have Jared Allen go against Marc Gasol. Gasol's still a really good player, but Embiid's on a different level in terms of talent. So, I mean, I really do hope it is the Raptors. I mean, Kawhi Leonard might have an off series, and the Nets might find themselves in a 6 or 7 game series with the Raptors. I mean, I really don't know what to expect. the Nets did bring the Hawks to a 6-game series, I believe, in 2015 when we were the 8th seed. They were the 1 seed. That was the year the Hawks were just really good out of nowhere. DeMarre Carroll was still on the Hawks back then, a long time ago, it feels like. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I mean, I just want to, say congratulations to this team. They did a really good job this year, and it's been so fun being a Nets fan. And Sean Marks is doing a wonderful job as GM. And I'm actually really excited to see what we can get this summer. I'm hoping that we get some kind of free agent. I really haven't looked yet about who is a free agent and stuff like that. I'm just trying to enjoy this season. I mean, people talk about Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler. Obviously, I'm sure there's some other names out there, but Nets fans chanting Kyrie's leaving when the Nets played the Celtics at home, so that was pretty funny. But for the most part, it's been a pretty satisfying season, some ups and some downs, and some terrific games. And I mean, I personally think the Nets' biggest turnaround was the game in Houston when Dinwiddie just went off and had like 3 straight 3-pointers to tie the game, and I think sent it to overtime. The Nets eventually won that game, so that was a roller coaster of emotions type game right there, and the Nets were able to pull away. And since that game, we've been getting more national attention and stuff like that. I mean, people were aware the Nets were playing well this year, but it wasn't really, like a national thing. Like ESPN wasn't really talking about it much. But after that Houston game, people really started to pick up on how good the Nets actually were this year. So as a Nets fan, it's nice to be in the media for something good. But yeah, I mean, guys that played well this year, I haven't finished who I want to give a shout out to. Who are we going to talk about? Rodion Kurucs. I really didn't expect nothing from him this year. I watched some of his highlights overseas. Looked like a skinny dude who was pretty talented, but I really didn't think his body would hold up in the NBA. But he said, forget that. He actually did put on some muscle, you could tell, from his film a couple of years ago. But he ended up being a really good player. He's the kind of player I like. He's feisty. We saw him bump Kawhi Leonard the other day, and he's not afraid to mess around with anybody. He's really that type of guy. So really good at cutting to the basket and doing that stuff. He's really like Andre Kirilenko Jr. He's doing a lot of things that Kirilenko used to do. I don't want to say Travion Graham because I'm not a big Travion fan, but the last 5 games or so he's been picking it up, and I hope that he can somehow make an impact in the playoffs. Maybe he'll be asked to guard up against Kawhi Leonard and stuff like that. Jared Dudley I mentioned before. And even, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson annoyed me most of the year. But in that Kings game, and there was another game as well, I forget which one it was, he came in and played really terrific minutes. So he was the reason the Nets had some big wins towards the end of the season, and maybe Rondae Hollis-Jefferson's the reason we made the playoffs. I don't know. But it could be the reason we lost some games as well, so I really don't want to say that. Caris LeVert as well. It actually seems like Caris is coming back to his former self right now. It's really nice to see the last few games or so. He's been playing really well, much better from where he's been at since the injury. You could tell his athleticism's still there. It's just his touch and his jump shot just wasn't there. So I think he's getting it back though, and it's something to be optimistic about going into the playoffs. But I think that's it. DeMarre Carroll, I forgot if I mentioned him or not. He had a pretty nice year at times. It seems like Carroll has some kind of wrist injury right now. I really didn't look into it, but you could tell something's up with him. He sat out the second half of this game today against the Pacers, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with him. I hope he's healthy for the playoffs. But really, that's it. I'll probably do a reaction after the series. Hopefully we win somehow, but not expecting it. It's kind of hard to beat the Raptors or the Sixers, but we'll see what happens. I mean, either way, I'm a satisfied fan that we even made the playoffs this year. We weren't even supposed to be close to the playoffs, so I think before the season started, I came on here and said 36 wins was my prediction, and now they're at 41, I think. 41, chance to win 42. So, yeah, I mean, they really exceeded my expectations this year, and I'm happy about it. I can't lie. I mean, it's a good time to be a Nets fan, especially with how the Giants play, and it's relieving to have a team actually play well. The Yankees have gotten off to a slow start, so having the Nets play the way they are is pretty fun. So I'm excited for these playoffs. I really hope they can make some noise and make something happen in the first round, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, man, I'm just excited about the playoffs. I'm really excited. So it's good to be back. Hope all you Nets fans are happy like I am, and I'll talk to you guys after the first playoff series.